January's been a pretty rough month for reading. I was really sick for like the first week of the year and I didn't get a lot of sleep. I've had some other medical crap I've had to deal with, but I wanted to just make a video to talk about my struggles and just to chat. So I finished Empire of Silence and it was really good and I had a lot of fun with it, but I feel like I've had book ADHD all month. I'm trying to skip around from thing to thing and I don't feel like I'm getting anything done. I'm almost finished with Hell's Half Acre and I really like that book. Just a history of a very interesting part of Fort Worth. I keep sending pictures to my brother and a friend of mine and I'm like, hey look, this is that building that your megacorp you work for is located at. There used to be prostitutes there. Just stuff like that. It's really interesting. And I'm like, see, look, that block. See, you worked on that block. Dude got gunned down right there. Got murked in like 1884. Look who I got. Got that dog. This has been my companion while I haven't been feeling well. And she likes to cuddle when I read. It's terrible. I can barely read because of this. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about books in general. I feel like I've been burnt out. I've started Gardens of the Moon again, and it's so good on the second read through. I thought that it would be easier this time because I understand all the proper nouns that are being used, but man, it's not any easier. Now I'm just focused on putting all the little pieces together and it's like, oh, this leads to this and I know what this is and wait, this is mentioned in this book, and then I'm racking my brain about what these other things are and how it all falls into line. That takes a lot of brain power. So I'm having to read Gardens of the Moon little bites. So that ain't working. I did start the first book in this, which is The Fire in His Hands. And I just realized that this paper version has an introduction by Steve Erickson. So I'm going to have to read that right when I'm done filming this. I've been listening to the book. It's really good. I think that these two prequels in the Dread Empire are probably going to be better than the Dread Empire trilogy. They just start out so much stronger. And I think this is like the beginning of prime Glenn Cook writing. That book came out at the same time as the first Black Company novel, so you knew he was cooking by then. I just feel like I've been spinning my wheels lately and not really getting anything done. And I know that like the books read for the year number like doesn't really matter. And I know I'm kind of flitting from thing to thing because of the book groups I'm in. And I see all these people reading all this cool stuff. And I'm like, I want to read that. I want to read that. Then I found out that Shogun's narrated by Ralph Lister, and I'm like, well, I guess I need to stop everything I'm doing right now and just listen to Shogun, since the last time I read the book, I was like 13, which 13-year-olds shouldn't read that book. Oh, well. Yeah, I'm just trying to find what it is that I'm looking for in a book right now. This happens sometimes. It's like a lull. I just don't know what to read. I've got so many things to read. I've got so many plans, but I look at them and I'm just like, ugh, no, not today. Oh, shout out real quick. Look at this. Look at this sweater. Isn't it pretty? It's such a pretty green color. My mom made it for me. It's a good Christmas present and I'm very warm and it's very cold outside. So it comes in handy. Yeah, I get in these funks and I want to read and I'm enjoying the stuff I'm reading, but I just keep thinking, what is this thing that I want right now? I want epic heroic fantasy, but every epic heroic fantasy book I pick up right now, I'm like, I don't know. This isn't it. Or it's like, I want really, really cool, fast-paced adventure. And then I look around and I'm like, I do not own enough of those. Or it's just a matter of, I've got this finite amount of reading time for paper books. I really want to start dedicating that time to tabletop RPGs again. I'm getting that itch. And I want to paint miniatures. I can't paint miniatures when my eyes are looking at a piece of paper. So I got to find more audio content to listen to. And just stuff like that. I just feel kind of overwhelmed at the beginning of the year. And I just felt like rambling about it. Oh, another thing. I really want to read Winter of the World, book 2 in the Century trilogy by Ken Follett. When am I going to have time? It's like 30 hours. I really think that might be the thing that gets me going again. Sometimes just a hard reset, because generally I read science fiction and fantasy. I think Winter of the World might bring me out of my funk or make it worse. Who knows? What's a 5th or 6th book to be starting in the middle of the month and not finishing? As I was talking about Hell's Half Acre, I meant to say I do plan on finishing that probably today or tomorrow. I feel like I kind of get like a Sanderlanche going, except with book reading. I'll be working on all these little things and I'll be chipping away at them and I feel like I'm not getting anything done. And then over a week, I finish like 7 books and I'm like, how did this even happen? Where did these come from? Like, what's going on? Maybe I'm just waiting for the January book avalanche to finally build up some momentum. I think that's my problem, is like the momentum to carry me forward just hasn't gained enough traction in my little mouse wheel brain. Maybe it'll start working sometime soon, hopefully. Not really sure where this was going. I mean, what do you, dear watcher, do when you're in a reading funk? I'd love to hear in the comments. Oh, I gotta talk about someone real quick. Let me look this up. Has anyone out there read Harold Robbins? I just found out about him and I had no idea he was one of the best-selling writers of all time. He has like 750 million copies sold of his works. And I never heard of him. Then I start looking into him and I find out he's like the OG kind of exciting, dirty-ish novel writer. I don't really know yet because I haven't read any. If you look at Never Love a Stranger, which is his first book, it was based on a $100 bet from his boss that he couldn't write a novel. And the guy goes out there and just cranks out this novel that's now one of the best-selling novels of all time. Just fires off this career like Harold Robbins. It's insane. And the premise of it is just incredible. I really want to read it. I might do that this weekend, actually. Maybe Ken Follett can wait. Who knows? Maybe I'll do both. It's a story of a kid who is an orphan and growing up in a Catholic school. While he's still young, he basically finds out that he's Jewish and the Catholic orphanage does too, so they kick him out. And like, this is in New York City. And then he turns to a life of crime and he's good at it and he like rises up the ranks, and you have his story, and then you have his old best friend from the orphanage who ends up becoming like a tough as nails district attorney who's trying to take the main character down. And it's like, what? This sounds so cool. Like, where did this come from? How have I never heard of this? And the same with his other stories. One of them is about like the aviation industry and like doing whatever it takes to be on top, all that stuff. I think it takes place during like World War II or sometime around there. It just seems super freaking cool. And I just had no idea. Like, this came up in the Fantasy Network Discord channel. We were just talking about the best-selling writers of all time. So this is a crazy fact I found out too during that discussion. Robert Jordan had 70 million books sold before he passed away. So like, his death didn't bring on like a huge explosion of popularity with his works. He was already that popular. He sold more copies of his books than George R.R. Martin has. He sold more than George R.R. Martin before there was a TV show that nobody watches or cares about. Well, at least I don't. It's just incredible. I had no idea. And then we were talking about book sales and the fact that like some of them it's like 10,000 copies and you're just like, you're gold, you're set. And then Harold Robbins has 750 million copies. He sold more than J.K. Rowling. He sold more than Stephen King. He's almost sold more than both of them combined. Holy crap. And then to put that in perspective, Agatha Christie has like 2 billion copies sold, which she has like a 80-year advantage on everyone else. Still incredible. The conclusion of that discussion was, we don't know what any of this means. Who knows how book sales work? Nobody. Not even the New York Times or anyone that tries to interpret New York Times' bestseller list. I just thought it was interesting. Book sales. My boy Robert Jordan sold that many. I think the deeper I get into the BookTube community and just like reading enthusiasts groups, it gets overwhelming. There's so much out there to read and I'm starting to get kind of locked down. I'm freezing up a little and I'm trying to power through that. I'm just trying to stay in my lane, do my own thing, kind of bring in some stuff here or there, but it's a little difficult. On the bright side, I found a lot of really good stuff to read. I mean, I would have never read Ken Follett without inspiration from other members of book groups. Yeah, at this point, I feel like I'm just rambling a lot. I just wanted to talk about reading and books and what I've been doing lately, just spinning my wheels, and hopefully I can kind of get into a rhythm again. I had to stop reading at night for a while because I was just having really, really bad insomnia. Nighttime reading was like my go-to when it came to paper books. I'm finally back into reading before I go to bed. Sometimes I read a page or two. Sometimes I read 20 pages before bed, you know, just depends on how sleepy I am. But that's helped too, to get kind of things going. And I think when I'm done filming this and editing this, I'm just going to go hang out and read for a while. I just really want to get things settled in again, like Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that crap. It's just, you feel so rushed, like you don't have time to do anything. And it always just completely throws off my rhythm when it comes to reading and hobbies. And I have way too many hobbies. I mean, book reading, BookTube, painting miniatures, running tabletop RPGs, woodworking, working on cars, 3D printing, weightlifting, way too many hobbies. I should just quit my job and focus on my hobbies. It might make my life a little easier for a little bit. I'm rambling a lot at this point. If anyone wants to chat about kind of what they do to get back in the rhythm to reading, just let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk about it. And thanks for watching. And with that, I'll see you next time.